living my life from the outside in makes me a beggar at the feast. Living my life from the inside out makes me a gift and a joy and a presence. I am now able to serve, to help, to heal in a way that I was never able to before.
Expanding possibilities, the mindset zone.
I'm your host, Ana Melikian. I'm here to support you increase your impact while preventing burnout. The Mindset Zone is a place to pause, increase your self-awareness, and embrace the experimentation mindset. Find more resources, including information about the Mindset Zone book and audiobook at mindset.zone. Yes, instead of .com is .zone. Today, our special guest is Susan Filan, and Susan is a former trial attorney turned transformational speaker who is known as the Wake Up Coach. Welcome to the Mindset Zone, Susan.
Thank you, Anna. It's great to be here.
And you have a so incredible message that I think the world needs to hear, especially now. So many of us are living at a pace that feels really unsustainable. And your story is fascinating because you survive a wake-up call and you answer it in a very proactive way. And now you are turning your life and other people's lives around through your message. But before we go to what happened to you and how you transform your life, tell us a little bit about what was your life before, because it was not a bad life. So tell us a little bit about the before.
On paper, it was a great life. I have more degrees than a thermometer. I started as an anthropologist. I became a lawyer. I was the MSNBC senior legal analyst, the NBC News legal analyst on the Today Show. I traveled around the country and covered trials and reported and was also in studio. It was fun. It was exciting. It was fascinating. I was a trial attorney. I had been a prosecutor. I'd been a defense lawyer. And I pivoted later to marry anthropology and law, and I became an Indigenous rights scholar at the University of Arizona virtually because of COVID. And I became a law professor. I was a doctoral candidate. I was writing my dissertation. And I thought that I had gotten pretty high up the career ladder, as you say.
Yes. And then what happened?
So just when I thought life couldn't get any better, because I was really enjoying what I was doing and I felt fulfilled in my studies and my work, I got a wake-up call that really showed me that I had not only climbed the wrong ladder, but my ladder was against the wrong wall.
Wow.
And what happened to me was it was a beautiful day in June, noon. I was with my adult child. It was their birthday. We were crossing the street and I never saw it coming. I never knew what happened, but I was hit by a car as a pedestrian in the crosswalk, and it was a near-death experience.
And I think it's the incredible thing is even the image of the perfect day, beautiful sunny day with a loved one, celebrating the birthday, and then out of the blue, out of the nowhere, and you are doing all the right things, going in the crosswalk, and the car came out of nowhere and ran you over. And then what?
I heard a thump and I heard a thud, but I didn't know it was me.
Wow.
And the next thing I knew, I was lying on my back, looking up on the ground. I said, "Oh, I'm dead." And then I said, "Am I dead? Am I dead?" I didn't know if I was here or there. I thought I was there. And then I was back in my body and I did a body scan. I started at the top of my head and went down to my feet and I said, "Am I alive? Am I in my body? Am I here? Am I okay?" And then the next thought was, "Oh, I'm just embarrassed." Like when you trip and fall and you're embarrassed. I said, I'm just embarrassed." And then I said, "Am I embarrassed or am I hurt?" And then the pain kicked in and I knew I couldn't move. I knew I was very seriously hurt. I didn't know what, I didn't know how, but I knew it was bad and I knew I wasn't okay. And then I started saying to myself, "I'm not okay. I'm not okay." And then I started saying, "I'm okay. I am okay. I'm okay," because I needed to
Yes,
regulate.
calm.
But I was in shock. And then the next thing was I couldn't see Hallie. And so I kept saying, "Help my child." I couldn't see Hallie. People were looking for Hallie, but Hallie was fine. Nothing.
Yeah, thank God.
Hallie was behind me, but I just couldn't see Hallie. The next thing I remembered was the paramedics came and I heard, "Oh, it's not a fatality." I think they thought I was dead. And the story goes on from there. Obviously, I lived to tell the tale,
Yes.
but I've had 5 surgeries. I had to learn how to walk completely from scratch all over again. I learned to walk, and then I had to have another surgery where I had to learn to walk again, and it was weebles wobble, but they don't fall down. I would get knocked down,
Yeah.
and I would get back up, and I would get knocked down, and I'd get back up, and I finally just surrendered to the experience because I didn't have any control over my body or the surgeries or when I was gonna walk and how I was gonna walk and whether I would ever be fully recovered, and that's when the awakening really began, Anna. That's when I realized that I had missed the point of life. I had I would have died and never really understood what it is to be alive. And for me, what I learned is that just being alive, drawing a breath, being present, being here, having the gift of life, that's what I missed. I was so focused, so driven, so career oriented, climbing, 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 that I was never really here. I
Here.
didn't enjoy, I didn't feel, I didn't experience. And now everything has shifted for me. And I understand that I am not entitled to my next breath, let alone tomorrow. It is a gift.
And let's unpack this because I think there is so many wonderful life lessons here that can inspire so many. And but I want to dig a little bit in the story first because this Odyssey, how long was this time of recovery for you from, let's say, how long did you have to stay in the hospital and in recovery?
I was in the hospital for a few weeks. They had to do a couple of procedures that they normally would have done all at once, but they had to do them
Yes.
in sequence. And I don't really want to go into all the
Yes.
injuries. That's not really important, but I was there longer than I would have ever thought, and things were more complicated than I would have imagined. And when I got home, that's when I was really disabled in a wheelchair. We had to make ramps, and I couldn't go upstairs to my room to bed. I had to stay downstairs in another room. And I think for some context, I had gotten remarried 6 months before, and we were set to go to France with my adult children to create a new family 4 days after the
Yes.
accident. And then 6 months after we got married, I wasn't able to go up to our room and sleep in our bed. So there were a lot of little shifts that made me realize how much I took for granted,
Yeah.
how privileged and how entitled I am, and how blessed and beautiful my life is. And I would have just taken it all for granted and not ever felt it.
And life creates these horrible circumstances, but that made you have to really freeze. So you had all the time in the world to think.
To think, to feel, to really take stock of my life. When you have a near-death experience, you have that split-second life
Yes.
review. Mine was a lot slower and a lot longer because I was in bed for quite a while, but I began my own version of a life review. I began an inventory, and that's when I realized that gratitude is something that I think it was a word, and I think I probably said it, but I don't think I ever really felt it until I still was in this body, in this life, in this home, with this family. I lost all the external things, career work, that was gone, but what remained was what is the most important thing to me. It's just that I had it backwards all this time. I thought all the externals and the career and the things and the stuff and the go and the do. I missed be, and I missed gratitude, and I have that now.
Wow. Now that you are speaking about this, the image that is coming to my mind, and I want to see how this relates to you. There is that very famous image that we speak a lot in the productivity world of a glass container where we can put the big stones and then we can put the sand and then we can put, so it's the big stones and then small pebbles and then the sand and then liquid. And it's the idea is that we have to put the big things first and then we have space for the other things. But what when you are retelling your stories, like you realize that what you had considered the big stones were the wrong big stones.
That's exactly right, Anna. That's a beautiful image. And that really brings to life what I'm saying, that I really focused on the wrong things. I'll say I would have missed the point of life, of the gift of being alive and being here. And what I know now, I didn't coin the phrase, but we are spiritual beings having a human experience. We're souls on holiday at Classroom Earth. And so the lessons that we take are not optional, only the time in which we take them is. I would never have designed this curriculum. I wouldn't have majored in this. I wouldn't have taken these courses. I wouldn't have chosen this. My ego and my personality would have resisted, but my soul needed this. This is what my soul needed to wake up to the truth of who I am and why I'm here and the gift of life itself.
So, if going with that metaphor of the stones or the rocks, the foundational rocks, you are putting seems things that society will consider important, like career, and you were making a difference with your work. Was not just a career for the sake of a career. You were doing a difference in the world in causes that are important causes. And the family and other things that were important. I know you for several years. I know that you value your family and all of that, but they were the extras where there was the space most of the time. And then with this wake up call, what are now, you are speaking about the spiritual element, the family, the love. What are that foundational rocks that you see now with more clarity?
Presence. I appreciate you saying me that I did good work. I do appreciate that, but I wasn't embodied. I wasn't here. I was 10 steps ahead of whatever it was that I was doing and thinking about what else had to happen, what else had, and I wasn't here. I didn't experience it. I didn't feel it. And what shifted for me is that whether I'm doing great work or nothing, I am here. I am present. I feel the gift of life. I feel myself. I love myself. I matter to myself. I count. I have a seat at the table. I was metaphorically the person that, made a meal for 160 and stood in the kitchen while everybody sat at the table and ate. I wasn't here for myself in my own life. And I am now. And what that has done for me is now when I help somebody, I help them from my whole heart. I help them from my soul. And I help them from a place of not better than or less than, but I am you. I understand. I feel.
And I think this difference is so important because I think before it's focused on the to-dos, the do's, the things to check from our to-do list, the goals to achieve, the results to get, the things to coordinate that make us feel pump our ego in many ways. And but you are like an spectator, not
Yeah,
being. So you are in the do, not in the being, in the
that's
fully
exactly right.
being.
That's exactly right. And that busyness, I think, is a way of escaping the self and escaping the ups and downs, really, of life. We put a guard up, put a mask on, we hide, we pretend, we disappear. And maybe we look good from the outside in, and maybe we look good on paper, but what I now know for sure, living my life from the outside in makes me a beggar at the feast. Living my life from the inside out makes me a gift and a joy and a presence. I am now able to serve, to help, to heal in a way that I was never able to before.
Okay, that's what you said. It's beautiful and powerful. So let's slow down a little bit and go there. So repeat that what you said.
Living life from the outside in instead of from the inside out makes me a beggar at the feast. I miss my life, but when I live from the inside out, from a place of surrender, because I don't have control, and I know that now. Your next breath isn't guaranteed. Tomorrow is promised to no one. I know that with every
Well,
cell and fiber of my being. So I surrender, I give up control, I accept what is. I say thank you for this moment. I am present. I feel. If my feelings get hurt, I cry. I'm not tough. Oh, I don't care. I'm here. I feel. I'm awake. I'm a being. And it's a beautiful experience to have the soul embodied in the physical body so that I can really learn what I came to learn as a soul. That is the point of life. That is the point of incarnation. That's why our souls come into bodies on Classroom Earth, to learn and grow. And sometimes our lessons, as I said before, aren't ones that we would choose, but they're absolutely perfect for what we need most. And what I needed most was to wake up to the beauty of life, to the gift of life, to the joy of life, whether I have what I want or not, I get what I want or not, you are who I need you to be or not. My joy, my peace, my wellness is no longer dependent, contingent on anything external. So it's always sunshine now, even if it's raining, because I have shifted within to a deep place of peace, joy, and gratitude because I'm alive, because I didn't die, because I didn't lose a limb, because I can walk and I am still here. And now I know that my reason for being here is to help everybody else not miss their life, to love it, to enjoy it, to feel it, to experience it, to be present, and not have it, your peace or your joy, dependent or contingent on anything external, because that's a game you will never win. You will always lose.
and now you have this message, I would say, because this was a transformation for you.
Yes.
That life throw you these circumstances and that allow you to wake up, and but you in this waking up process for yourself, it's not just you really relearn, and it really transform you from the inside out.
Yes, completely. It was an interior renovation, as if an architect came and completely smashed the old blueprint, which was programmed to succeed, to achieve, to have busy. Somebody said, "How are you?" And I said, "Busy." It was a badge of honor. Now I think it's sad. I call myself now a wake up artist. I really want to help other people not miss their life and not be running on the wrong track. And it's very hard unless you've had something, a diagnosis, a divorce, a betrayal, a burnout. It's very hard if everything looks like it's going along well to wake up, that you're in the dream and you're in the illusion and you're the rabbit chasing or the dog chasing the rabbit. But even so, don't miss your life by chasing rabbits, because that's not where fulfillment comes. That's not where joy and peace comes from. It's also not stepping into your true purpose. I believe everybody comes with a specific job to do. Picture a giant jigsaw puzzle. Each of us are one unique piece, and we have to become in full our unique piece to fit into the total puzzle, which is the plan of anchoring peace on earth. So everybody needs to figure out why they're really here And a lot of us feel very trapped. Oh, that sounds lovely. Sure. I wish I could get off the rat race. Yeah, that's fine for you. But dreams don't pay the bills. And I think that's part of the conditioning, part of the little potion that we take to fall asleep. But I'm here to say, wake up. That's not the truth. And that's not life. And that's not living.
Unpacking this a little because I think it's a so amazing reminder, an important message. Because without any doubt, in our culture, it's almost there is that image like a fish is swimming in the water and it doesn't realize that it's in the water because it's the only thing that they always knew, that water. So what is that water? And in many ways, we live in this accelerated society that creates all these have to do's, all these to do's, all these expectations. And we don't know better because we are, in many ways, we are born and raised in this water, in this culture. And sometimes we need to have these, like you're referring to, the burnout, the divorce, the accident, the diagnosis. So things have to, something have to happen that crumbles our life, that when we are putting the pieces back together, we suddenly realize that, oh, maybe I can choose another environment. Maybe I choose another way of being. And at the same time, I think it's curious because there were whispers before. I think we all of us have whispers before saying, maybe there is another way, but we shoo, 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 until we cannot, life circumstances happens that we cannot shoo them anymore.
Yes, I think what you're saying is so true. Pain is our greatest teacher. And so if you get the whisper or you get the shout, you might not do it because you still don't have to until you get that knock on the head. And if you can possibly wake up before your whole house of cards is blown apart, that would be wonderful. That's part of my message. But I'm also here to let people know that when the wake up call comes, the pain comes. The teacher is here. Don't identify with the pain. Don't identify with the teacher. Focus on the lesson and see it as a gift. So when comes the divorce, the diagnosis, the betrayal, the burnout, don't think that's what you're supposed to focus on. Say amen and hallelujah. What can I get free of now? How can I liberate myself? I was on the wrong road, and this is my opportunity to pivot and to feng shui my life and to Marie Kondo, the art of tidying up. How can I tidy up what's inside my head and dump all the old limiting programs and beliefs that just don't serve me? They're just not true. And here's my chance to chuck them.
Now you are speaking this in stages, if for organizations, for associations, for whenever you have a stage. I think this is something that you are passionate about, spreading the message about this. And I think people that have that wake up moment, they absolutely immediately relate with your message. And at the same time, you are also trying to reach people that didn't have that earthquake in their life, so to speak.
Yes, I'm trying to get them before they have to go through that Cuisinart of pain. But either way, when I speak, my point is to inspire, to enrich, to enliven, and to empower people to live the life that they were born to live, their truth, free themselves. I'm here in the spirit of liberation. I also one-on-one coach so that I can help people really put this into daily practice and get the benefit of the message, the lesson without being dragged through the mud too hard and
Yes.
too far.
And I think that is also why, because another thing that you do, you lead retreats in your
I
place
do.
with the horses, and then you are now also taking people in traveling. I think the next one is going to be to India, because
Yes,
I think there is something magical about the retreat or the trip retreat, because take us from our usual environment so we can see things from a different perspective.
exactly. Sometimes you have to have all the familiar stripped away so that you can step out into your true self. I find travel always helps people remember who they really are because the day-to-day routine and habit and familiarity is gone. And you start to have the eyes of a child. Everything is new, everything is different. You start to actually see things and beauty, and you taste food, and you have these rich experiences. I co-lead the Dharma retreats with my husband, and this December, we're taking people to India because certainly Mother India is the birthplace of your soul, and she will strip away the familiar and help you wake up in the gentlest, most beautiful way. You'll feel more love than ever before, and there will be no doubt who you are as a soul. And when you come back, you will have new purpose and new energy and new vision and new mission for your life, and you will come home and do what you were always meant to do.
And I love that. It's a more gentle way of waking up. Don't wait for being hit by the car of the metaphorical car to wake up. You can wake up in a more gentle way and transformational way that allow to discover the importance of being here and how amazing being here is.
Exactly.
Wow.
Love your life, live your life, enjoy your life. It is a gift.
So with that, how can people learn more about you and the work you do?
My website is susanfilan.com, and you can Google me, come on my site. I have a Calendly link you can book. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can see my phone number. It's a mobile. Call me, text me. My email is there. Reach out, contact me. I cannot wait to connect with you and help you become the person you were always meant to be. And the acorn holds the seed of the tree. We all hold the seed of our original selves, and we all know who that is. Let me help you come home to yourself, to wake up, to remember, and to love your life.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ana.
Expanding possibilities, the mindset zone.
If you can think of a person who will find this episode helpful, please share it. Spreading the word about the Mindset Zone podcast is very powerful. For extra resources, including information about the book and audiobook, Mindset Zone, Actualize Your Human Potential, go to mindset.zone. Yes, instead of .com is .zone. As always, I'm so grateful that you are here. Expand what's possible for you, for the ones around you, for the world.